Well, good morning everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm today going to be doing a review of my 2019 R150RT. I've now had it for, what's it now, 16-17 months. I was planning on doing this for about a year and 10,000 miles because of obviously the world situation, not much to get out, etc. It's been slightly delayed, so it's a 16-17 month review, 11,000 miles. I've just had it serviced, so it's had its 600 mile service, 6,000, and sort of this is now the year one it's done, sort of before the 12,000. So all well and good, no issues with it. I thought I'd just start off on a bit of dual carriageway because this is the sort of thing that these bikes are sort of designed for as well, for ticking off some big miles. So nice and easy. Obviously we've got cruise control, which we can just stick on, stick the screen up slightly. As you can see, it's really adjustable. You can have it really low to get a better view of things, or you can have it dead high, which will just stick up to its highest point. Nice bubble of air, and it's really calm. Obviously maybe my camera might hide it, but my screen's filthy because I've not cleaned the bike since the last time I was out on it. Some will say sacrilege, some will say yes, that's right, you should be just riding the bike. So I like that, but then eventually my OCD will take over, and I will give the bike a massive clean, and then when it's spotless, I'll do a walk around on it so that you see it after a year's use, basically, to see how well it holds up with things. But here, as a cruise control, you can take your hands off the bars. I find the main thing with this is on a long trip that it just relaxes your shoulders slightly. It doesn't matter how much you relax, you always get a bit of a stiff hand if you're always on the throttle. So this is really good that you're able to do this, and you know, it just makes for a much more relaxing day when you've got to do a few miles like this. And there's always, on a European tour for instance, you've always got a bit of motorway or dual carriageway you've got to tick off just to get to your perfect riding roads. So that's just to start off with. I say very comfortable. I say the comfort of these bikes is fantastic. Nice wide flat seat. There's always people that will say that, oh, it's uncomfortable, they'll buy Sargent seats or whatever, Corbin, but I find for the amount of time I spend on it, I'm not a person that will do the full tank full at a time, you know, like nearly 300 miles. So I'll probably do 100, 150 before I have a quick stop, and I find it's absolutely fine for me, no issues whatsoever. So here we are, and we're just kicking down the gears with the auto shifter, nice and easy. Nice and stable, so we'll just get past some of this traffic here. Absolutely wonderful, flexible engine. Let's get past this other car here, van even. So obviously the big thing over the 1250, obviously previous model, is obviously the engine. An extra 9 horsepower I think it is. I'll put a lot of stats at the bottom. I'm not a person for remembering stats on a bike, I just like to ride it personally. I mean, it's nice I suppose to reel off a lot of stats and what it's got and what it does, but a lot of bikes, it's the experience of getting on it, riding it, and that's the main thing. So for me, that's the big thing. I say it's whether it's a lot of people, it's comfort that's important. I think the main thing that I have got into these sort of big touring style bikes is the position that I'm in. My wrists ache on anything that's sort of sporty, and I need something with the bars that are relatively straight, upright, and you know, maybe that's just an age thing, but that's what I've got into. But just because I like an upright bike, comfortable, doesn't mean I want something that doesn't have performance. And this is something that this new engine does. Just absolutely, acceleration is superb. And I think the big thing with this is that even when running the bike in, keeping it below 6,000 RPM, I didn't miss or think that, oh, I can't wait till I can get over 6,000 RPM. It is so flexible. The power, again, really brilliant mid-range on it. Let's get past these cars here, obviously sticking out in this lane, not indicating, that's what I love. Let's see, for a big bike, handles lovely as well, look at that. Semi-short shifter at 5,000 here, up to speed, just like that. The cars are in the distance, superb. So I just love this engine. I think in my past I've avoided these, the flat twins, because just the power wasn't there. Obviously I think the latest 1200s before the 1250 were very good. But I think this 1250 just adds that little bit of cream on top, and you know, it's absolutely brilliant. So on that side of things, it's a big tick from myself. Very flexible as well. Nice and smooth. There we are. So, I shall leave it there just now until we're on some more interesting roads. I've got to get through Nantwich. I'm heading over to sort of Snowdonia today, so it'll be a lot more interesting roads. We're in the sort of second week of September. We're into a little warm spell in the UK here in the northwest. Not quite as hot as the south, but as I say, it's warm enough today. And again, another thing with these bikes, a lot of protection. I've got my summer suit on, lots of vents, summer gloves on, and I'm not feeling the cold in the slightest. But obviously when it does get a bit warm, obviously sometimes you could do with a little bit more air, but you can't have everything, can you? But I think most times when it gets above 30, that most bikes, you get hot anyway, the air's that hot, you don't really get much of a benefit from even not having a fairing. So I've been with plenty others. And if you go back to one of my other sets of videos when we went to the Balkans last year, all sorts of weathers, and when it got to the 30s, everybody was hot. It didn't matter what bike you were on, so it's not a big issue. But I say the main thing is when the weather does turn, you've got the protection to you know, keep you more comfortable with it. Alright, okay, until then I shall catch you in a bit. Well, here we are into deepest Wales now. Weather's turned a little bit, although there's on the rain radar there's no rain, but heavy clouds, and roads are a little bit damp, so we're obviously just take things slightly easier here. I was going to go over Snowdon, but again, because it's so sort of downcast, there's no real point in that. So any minute now I'm going to go onto the 470, head down to Doglew, excuse my Welsh pronunciation. I say slow speed handling of the bike, it's very good. I find the front end just has a vague feeling going at really slow speeds. Maybe because it's obviously because it's got the power lever suspension on it, the forks obviously being slightly more remote, so that you just find it, whether it's because of the engine, just again because the parallel twin just going back and forward, and you just get that slight feeling of that front end moving, and especially just going really slow, trying to keep your balance, but it's probably something to get used to, and there'll be others that have had BMWs for years will be going, don't notice it, but because I've had bikes with sort of standard forks all my life, and I have done a lot of miles on bikes, it is just something that I just notice. Any other time, absolutely no issues whatsoever. So obviously talk about handling, now we're on some decent roads now. It's got the full dynamic package. Even just sitting on the bike, it knows how much weight's gone on it, if it's settled, and it sets suspension for yourself, however much luggage, if you've got a pillion, you don't have to do anything, and the only things you have to do is set which actual setting it's going to start off in. My preferred is dynamic. I have that probably 95% of the time. I have occasionally put it into road, which, yeah, it's okay. Again, sometimes I was doing a long motorway stint, I'll have that, and then again, very occasionally if I'm out in the rain, which I don't do hugely, it's only if I'm on a tour or holiday somewhere, that I will put it into rain mode when the weather's got really sort of crap, especially on some of the European roads. They can be really slippy in the wet, so having something like the rain mode where all your safety systems kick in, and it's even in just little bits like this. This is a bit horrible, that sort of bit of road there, horrible. Beautiful bridge, but yeah, it's all on that. Dynamic usually sorts things out for you. And I think if you've had lots of bikes without that package on it, then you know, it's just that slight extra little safety feature for yourselves. And I say it is a big bike. It's about can't remember the exact weight. I'll put it somewhere, 600 odd pounds. So you can still get it to get out of shape if you try and do something a bit silly. Yeah, there's nothing's going to stop it going awry if you really cock it up, as they say. But you know, treat it with respect, treat it with that, guide it into corners. I think I'm going to have a word with this rain alarm app I've got on my phone. It's usually quite accurate. That I say there's nothing shown here at all, and yeah, so I say getting a bit of rain on the screen. The choice of my air suit for the hot weather isn't seem like a good choice at the moment. It's got quite windy as well, a little bit gusty, but for a big bike with fairing, it actually copes very well in the wind, which is really quite good actually. I remember when I got the bike, I had my KTM Super Adventure S, and it was frankly quite terrifying going on this quite a high motorway up to the dealer, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to take my brand new bike out of this. I mean, I did stick to mostly sort of lower routes, but I still had to go over quite a high route over Home Moss, sort of not far away from where I live. And apart from when I stopped once and it was a bit hard to get going again, the bike coped really well. I was really quite surprised actually. So obviously BMW have got their aerodynamics right, which sort of brings me on to how the bike looks. I think it's one of these things that once you have one, you learn to love how it looks, because previously I wasn't really a fan of the fairing, but once you've got one and you see it from different angles, you appreciate it. It'll be interesting where they go with the next model, which I don't know, could be updated in the next couple of years. I don't know, but and I say with the update, and I'm sure a lot of people's sort of reason why they're maybe not getting one at the moment is because of the instruments. And I say a lot of people are going now because a lot of the bikes now have got TFT screens. This does have a small TFT screen, well, say it's 6.5 inch, but it's actually lengthways. You can obviously put a lot of different bits of information in there. You've got your normal 2 analog clocks for your speed and revs, and I actually like it. I'm not too fussed at the moment about it not having it. It's not like, say, the GS with its old style dials, and in comparison to the new dials, it is night and day. Because these had a shot of my friend's GS and I just cannot see half of the figures on it. It is terrible. Whereas the new dash is really sort of night and day. Whereas these, actually the speedo's large, you can see it. I've got the speed, you can configure it so you've got the speed as well. Let's get past this car. Again with the revs, and then you can have different information. I also have the temperature there. I always like to know what the temperature is. It's a British thing. We always like to know what it's doing. So I have that, and obviously shows what your suspension settings are, what gear you're in. And then your Hill Hold Pro tells you when you're stopped, if it's kicked in or not. So yeah, and then if you've purchased the optional sat nav, which I have, I don't know many people that don't. I've seen the odd person just put it in a different make, get a wee bracket for it, but you can change some settings from the scroll wheel. So you can look at lots and lots of different information on the actual sat nav as well. Oh, there's another RT there. As I said before, about 5'8", so relatively small. But again, that's one of the things I like over this bike over adventure bikes, that getting your feet on the floor is so much easier on an adventure bike. I find I was always tiptoeing. Whereas in this, obviously sometimes if you push stuff a bit forward, I can get both feet flat on the ground, which is really nice and very reassuring.